another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is, game, set, and match.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from Hyde Park Country Club in Cincinnati, Ohio, bringing you the 2025 Midwesterns with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corian. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Roto-Rooter Plumbing and Drain Service, High Grain Brewing Company, River Hills Bank, The Summit Hotel, Total Platform Tennis, Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe, and Viking. I'm Denise Murphy, along with Patty Hogan, bringing you the women's finals between number 1 seed Ellie Halbauer and Jill Jackson, and number 3 seed Liz Cruz and Marie Matrka. I want to welcome the woman, the myth, the legend, Patty Hogan, to the booth. Patty, psyched to be calling this match with you today.
Oh, me too. This is going to be a great one. Our chair umpire to make sure this is a great match is Dave Najedlik. And this match is a 2 out of 3 set regular scoring match. We have our tournament. Well, I mean, Denise, why don't you tell us about these amazing women?
All right, so there was still warming up their serves here and some returns. We have in the white coat in the forecourt is Ellie Halbauer, and her partner Jill Jackson is warming up on the deuce side. And Ellie is in the blue leggings. On the far court in the white vest is Marie Matrka, and she's talking to her partner Liz Cruz. Patty, 3 out of the 4 of these women are home. This is their home court, Cincinnati, Ohio. And Liz, of course, is coming from outside of Chicago. So this is going to be a really great match. I'm looking forward to a lot of talent, a lot of firepower, and the player on the court who has by far the most experience is Liz Cruz, who is a 3-time national champion. So this is going to be an awesome match, and looking forward to calling it with you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We know for sure someone from Cincinnati is going to be a winner. Last year, and Ellie and Jill lost in the finals to Morgan Sakura, so they'll be looking to avenge that loss and try to pull this out. And you know, we talk about these women, and you know, you made a comment earlier that 3 of these women have played paddle for 3 years or less. How amazing! And here they are in the finals of the Midwesterns.
Amazing. Ellie Halbauer to serve, and Liz Cruz just returned.
You know, Denise, it's going to be intriguing when I think about the great women in our sport. Liz Cruz's name is right up there with so many women who, you know, Liz has made the finals of 5 women's nationals. She won in 2015 with Anna Brazova. She was a finalist in 17 with Roxy Anika. She won back-to-back titles in 18 and 19 with Gabby Nicolescu, and they lost in 2021 to Hanish Zabori, Liz and Gabby. So Liz Cruz is one of these players where her experience outweighs everybody by a ton, and for that reason, I'm going to say she's going to be the player who I'm going to see who can who I think is going to determine the outcome of this match.
Yeah.
Denise, sometimes it's fun when we start to make picks, and we talked about this going on the air, and we say, hey, let's just pick, and then let's just say why they're going to win. So go ahead. Tell us what you got left with. No, I'm only kidding.
I know. Okay, first of all, let's just say this is a tough one because I love all 4 of these players, and I consider them friends. So I think I'm going to go with Jackson and Halbauer on this one, although I think it'll be really, really close. I think that the pressure that she applies, and combined with Jackson's steadiness and setting her up, as Halbauer just brings so much pressure and power, and Jackson does just a fantastic job of setting that up. So I think it's going to be a close one, but I'm going with the number 1 seeds here, Halbauer and Jackson.
All right.
But what about you, Patty?
I'm going to go with the team on the far side then. I'm going to go with Marie Matrka and Liz Cruz. And the reason is Liz Cruz. But another reason is Matrka. You know, she's one of these players we've not seen a ton of in tournament play on the live stream. But the woman brings it all to the table. And I think she's going to be the next person who, personally seen and nationally, really and breaks into that, you know, top part of the women's game, because I think she's got all the skills and just needs some experience. And I think, you know, I mentioned it yesterday, you know, these young players, when they get the opportunity to get on a court with the likes of a Liz Cruz, a Gabby Nicolescu, like Ellie played last season, 5 tournaments with, their ascent in the game, if they've got the physical skills, it occurs so quickly. Their trajectory just soars, and that's why I kind of love this pairing for Matrka to get out there with a 3-time national champ and just learn the little nuances, the ins and outs of the game, Denise.
Yes, I totally hear what you're saying. I mean, Matrka is going to be a better player after this match, regardless, just being next to Liz Cruz. I think what's the determining factor here is Matrka is so aggressive and is constantly hunting. It's whether she's hunting in a high percentage way or low percentage. And if Halbauer and Jackson can take advantage of her perhaps getting out of position, wandering a little bit too far from her home base, if that's going to hurt her or not. So we will see. But what I do know is this is going to be a great matchup, and looking forward to some awesome paddle being displayed here.
Denise, when you say Matrka is always hunting.
Yes. So
Can you explain that?
Yes. So she's playing the ad side. She's returning serve right now from Halbauer. She comes way out just looking to bring offense. Most of the time she resides by that center hash mark, just kind of floating out, always looking to bring her forehand drive, which is a massive weapon. And the farther she comes out to take that forehand, the more she exposes her corner. And if the net team is able to effectively volley her drive, it really can cause a little more imbalance in their positioning the further she comes out. So that could be a factor here in this match. Wow.
That's the risk reward of
Whoa.
you know, a monster roller.
I mean, most people, Patty, would just be happy to get that back, and Matrka just turns that into just like an incredibly forceful shot, which ends up ending the point. So, I mean, that just shows the level of talent that she's bringing here to this match, to the game in general.
I think the racket skills is what you're alluding to. You know, to make
yes.
that adjustment right there on that shot. I thought she was going to come out. It was going to be like a forehand drive off that back screen, and the ball ended up way up high, and she figured out exactly the right pace to hit it. Beautiful shot. We've seen a lot of evolution in the game of Ellie Halbauer since last season, when she did play the season with Nicolescu. She's added a couple of overheads, Denise.
She has. She's been working a lot on her spin. It's obvious. She's mixing up her paces, her spins, her targets, which just makes it so tough. Ooh, almost. You know, when you're playing, you don't want to be predictable, and she's done a fantastic job of adding new weapons and to her arsenal to really keep her opponents off balance. Cruz Matrka win that first game, so they're up 1-0. It's always interesting, Patty, seeing when you know, two teams face each other. I think this is probably the first time that Halbauer Jackson have played Cruz and Matrka, because that's their steady partner. And just to kind of feel it out, figure out where the weaknesses are, where your opponent's strengths are. and then build on that. So this is kind of both teams just settling in and figuring out where their safe zones on the court to put the ball and the places on the court where you don't. And if you accidentally do, you got to step up and get ready to be hit a balanced volley. Matrka is serving, and Jill Jackson is returning in the pink.
So the woman in pink on the far side, I would expect have a lot of opportunities in this final. I feel like Matrka and Cruz, look up and say, let's see, Jill Jackson, she's great. Ellie Halbauer, oh, she's greater and a little bit more explosive. Jackson's going to be more predictable in her shot making, so I would expect a lot of the overheads to go toward the woman in pink on the far side, Jill Jackson.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Halbauer definitely brings more firepower from the ad side, but Jill Jackson, I feel like she's an underrated player. She's the one setting up her partner to bring her firepower, whether it's just that little chip that's going to lead to a volley that Halbauer can just jump on, or it's a lob that makes them miss their target and again allows Halbauer to bring it. So without Jackson's setup, Halbauer doesn't really have as many looks. So I think they're a great combination.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I always say about Jill Jackson, never underestimate someone who homeschooled 4 kids.
Totally.
That woman is tough.
She's great. I really enjoy. I mean, I know. I don't know Matrka as well as I know the other 3 players. I mean, she's awesome. I've talked to her a bunch of times, but Jill Jackson, she was a nurse by trade, and just recently this year pivoted, and she's director of rackets at Makatiwa Country Club, and she is just having so much fun and enjoys her membership and teaching this game, and she's just so passionate about it. It's cool to see. You don't see that very often, like to your point. It's unique. She homeschooled 4 of her kids. She was a nurse and then decided, no, I'm going to pivot. And now director of rackets at Makatiwa, and just having a ball.
You see the setup with Ellie Halbauer clearly in the position where she's taking a lot of the overheads. Jackson's going to be playing in closer to the net, looking to hit more of the volleys. I have a feeling Matrka and Liz will try to aim a lot of balls to Jill's overhead, because as you can see, the Halbauer overhead's greatly improved. She's got that roller. She's got a cutter I've seen a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that's good pressure from Jill right there out of that deuce court.
She's a baller. They all are.
Yeah.
Matrka's just got a great serve as well.
Yeah, and this is, Cruz and Matrka is, like we said, first tournament they're playing together, and their movement looks really effortless at the net. They seem clear cut on what their roles are, who's going to take what ball. Super clear. So that's very impressive for a brand new partnership.
Didn't quite pop up, I think, as much as Matrka thought. Patty, it's funny. Right when you started talking about their positioning, I was noticing, I mean, they were perfectly in sync. It's like watching that Saturday Night Live skit of synchronized swimming.
Exactly.
Matrka goes back for a lob. Liz slides to her right. She hears contact and then slides right back to her left to look to drive stop. Just really, really nice rhythm between the two of them. Nice overhead by Matrka.
Advantage, Matrka.
Wow.
Ellie wanted that point.
Yeah, she did. She needs to do more of that in my mind. She loves pressure. Her hands are just so good. She needs to capitalize not only on her own great shots, but Jackson's shots as well, her partners. That pressure, I feel like, could be a determining factor in this match if she does it more often and at the right times.
See that ball right there early in the going where Jackson took that shot? Ellie kind of was looking to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Ellie's looking to hit it, Jackson needs to yield to Ellie's forehand in this situation because Ellie didn't get the hit on the ball. Then she kind of, came up short and didn't get, have time to go back and make that shot out of the screen. I just think with Ellie's forehand and what she brings to the table and a finals in last year's Women's Nationals, Jackson's got to really yield and give her as many hits as she can get, or this thing could go fast, I think.
Yeah. My guess is they'll be talking about that. Jill Jackson serving, Liz Cruz returning.
You see how Matrka came in. Now, Cruz could have hit that ball and had her paddle back and, on her backhand. She was all set and ready to hit. But she doesn't care if Matrka goes flying through because she knows that's the offensive shot. Liz's would be a defensive kind of shot.
And I love the way Matrka flowed through that as a pressure drive as opposed to moving parallel at the baseline and pulling the trigger. That's a completely different ball to volley.
And I like Jill swinging and not, just lobbing, but I think she's got to pick her target. And I would always start off every match, Denise, by trying to pummel the middle of the court just to test, the positioning of both net players.
Good hands by Jackson there.
30.
I like how Halbauer and Jackson went into I formation there and just had Halbauer just right in the middle, straddling that center service line, covering the highest percentage part of the court to drive to.
You can see Cruz doesn't really apply a lot of pressure off the return of serve. She doesn't have one of those explosive types of forehand returns. She just puts the ball in play and just, kind of starts her team's, game plan from the baseline and working, lobbing spots to set up most likely Matrka's forehand here in this match.
Cruz is like a surgeon, Patty. She just, it's not like a wow factor on that return, but I'll tell you what she's doing is making Jackson volley from below the level of the net, which a lot of times can set up her partner to bring it. So I feel like all too often players get caught up in the wow factor of shots, or actually I always say vanilla is a spice. That shot does not have wow factor, but it's incredibly effective.
Yeah. So that was an important hold right there, big time for Halbauer and Jackson. You could see that Cruz and Matrka are feeling really comfortable here. I think what's going to be the key is the baseline play in this match for Halbauer and Jackson, Denise, because it's just going to. It seems like Cruz and Matrka have a good game plan that's very clear on their overhead. They have their scheme established. Majority of the balls over toward that deuce court. And so I think it's going to be on Jill Jackson now to see what kind of, positioning adjustment perhaps she could make over there.
It's a great lob by Jackson.
Awesome.
I mean, anytime you force your opponent to hit any shot off balance, it either lead to a weak reply or just an unforced error or a forced error. I'd love to see Halbauer and Jackson clean up their communication a little bit. That's already the second time that they've kind of started floating closer to each other, which indicates that there's either no call or a late call.
15-30.
It's a good swing by Jackson, just didn't make it. You see how Ellie hit her return and followed it in, Denise, but then she backed off. She didn't force the volley because the ball was, volleyed away from her. And I think with Matrka in that last game, we saw her kind of hit a really good dipping ball, followed it in, but it was a better volley where she's got to learn to just let that ball go through. When it happens again, I'll point it out again. But
Yeah.
I think that's the pressure that both Matrka and Halbauer can apply off of their return to serves.
Great shot by Cruz. Exposed. That's the beauty of the drop shot, Patty, is you either win it outright or it significantly compromises the court position. So it's really tough for Jackson to cover the entire court for that one shot. Tough for any player, but in that particular situation, it was Jackson. Liz Cruz serving, Halbauer returning. Yeah, Cruz and Matrka really have Halbauer and Jackson kind of on their heels a little bit. It's a lot of reactive play. Matrka and Cruz are definitely in a driver's seat, creating a lot of instability in Jackson and Halbauer. Let's see if they can, I'd love to see more middle balls, Patty, just middle. And
from whom?
From Halbauer and Jackson, just
And
slowing things down a little bit. No,
yeah.
At the net right now,
At
just
the net.
slowing
Okay.
this down.
Okay.
And what are your thoughts, Patty? Like that shot right there, just.
I think that was a great combination of shots. You can see, they've hit. Cruz has hit 3 challenging balls to get back, and that's what they, using that middle then pulls her over to the middle, opens up the corner. She goes and covers the corner. It opens up the middle again. I certainly am a fan of that strategy and letting the ball drop a little bit on the overhead, a little bit more than what Jackson's doing, and keep that ball down low. I think it's more Jackson and Halbauer's baseline play that they're going to have to make some adjustments on than the net. I feel like they're a pretty solid team here at the net, and Jackson has great racket skills. I feel like they're in pretty good shape in this situation. That was a great ball from Matrka. Love the off-speed shot.
Really nice little chip. It's an underrated shot in this game.
Well, that I'm telling you, the whole game comes down to that chip for a lot of players, just being able to hit that ball with a little bit less of a backswing, less of a follow-through, increases your percentages. You can adjust the speed of the shot, and it just makes the net team, it just keeps them honest because you can be deceptive and, hit that ball low or hit that ball to a lobbing spot that would be difficult to potentially cover with an overhead. And I just think it's keep away from Ellie Halbauer out of that at court, in my opinion. Do you agree with that, Denise? Just
Yes.
keep away?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because when she connects, if she gets a look and connects with a ball that she's able to move into, it's a force to be reckoned with, that is for sure.
See,
That
I'd
was
love
a
to-
nice, yes. Go ahead, Patty,
Yeah.
because that's exactly what you're looking for.
Oh, yeah. And I still think Matrka, one of the things I see in players as they gain more experience, like they just pummel the middle of the court all the time. I think it's really important in the beginning of a match, the early going, when you get that short ball, work the middle, work the middle. It's your highest percentage shot, and then use the outside of the court because when you have two righties, they're playing against two righties. That ball to the outside of the player to the left, that's their backhand, and usually a pretty solid volley position. I'd say the middle you can cause a little bit of indecision, and how I think it's an effective way to sort of break down a net team a bit. Have them second guess each other. Are you going? Are you going? Make it where they have to make decisions.
I would love to see Jackson and Halbauer lob a little more, like have Cruz hit more overheads if they can. Like have Halbauer coming from the ad side, lobbing down the line to pull Cruz back. She's up there just kind of trolling, looking for the volley, and currently Matrka's hitting 98% of the overheads, but that's because they're lobbing more to the middle of the court instead of either going to, it's at Q4, it's at deuce side, no man's land that I'd love to see them aiming for when Cruz and Matrka are up at the net.
Hey, it's real simple. They have designated roles. One's covering more overheads, one's covering more volleys. You lob the volley person, and you go off speed toward the overhead person because that's the person most likely off the net. It's about recognizing the open spaces or where those open spaces are and, being disciplined and hitting those targeted areas over and over and over.
Patty, something tells me you're talking from experience on that. How many thousands of times did you do that to your poor opponents?
As much as I could, Denise.
Yeah,
Many times as possible.
The question is, Patty, were you the drive stopper or were you the overheader when you were at the net?
Believe it, well, depending on who I played with.
Okay.
I loved hitting all the overheads. Even though all my partners were taller, which goes
So
without
cute.
saying.
I know.
I love the overheads, and I love moving around the court. And the more active I could be, I felt like I could be more effective as a player. So I love the movement that you have naturally by playing in that position to the left of the partner.
Yes. All right, this is a big point here, Patty. Halbauer serving, Matrka returning. They're up 40-30. They being the serving team. That is a great take. See, Matrka is making really good. I love when she's able to hit and move in. That's when her drive is most devastating. That's a nice overhead from Jackson. I feel like there's intermittent sun in that corner as well, Patty. The sun's coming from the ad side. So when Jackson just kind of hit it down up, medium to soft overhead, and forced her to stare into that sun a little bit longer, that might have been a factor over there. Such a great shot by Cruz.
How many times have we seen that? Beautiful lob, forcing her opponents to give up the net.
Uh-huh.
That's the surgeon-like precision you were
Yes.
referring to earlier.
Yes. She does that little unassuming chip that draws them in and then lobs right over their head. I mean, it's a devastating combination, especially when you don't know when the heck it's coming. Wow, great read by Jackson. What the heck? That was amazing. That was a huge game for Halbauer Jackson. They're down 2-3, but Patty, this is playing out like we thought. It's awesome action on both sides of the net, and
Denise, let's talk about it a little bit later. Because first, I have to do something really important. I got to tell you about volley. Did you know that volley has thrown over 5 million balls to players working on their game? Don't get left behind. Get your reps in with volley. Whether it's day or night, you're in control of your training. Volley offers world-class training on demand, helping you sharpen your skills and level up your game whenever it fits your schedule. Ready to join the movement? Start training smarter with volley today.
Thank you, Patty.
You are welcome. Okay, so keep going, Denise. You were on fire there on that crucial game that we both knew Halbauer Jackson needed that game.
Yeah, but I got all distracted because volley is such an awesome machine. We have it at Skokie Country Club, and it's like it's been a game changer for our members and the staff. So yeah, forget it. I mean, I'm like a goldfish. It's boom. The thought was there, and now it's gone. So we're starting fresh here.
Isn't it great that you can be giving a paddle lesson right now with the volley machine and just use the remote control on your phone, but you can also be calling the finals of another match? That's amazing, Denise.
Yes, yeah.
That's how cool volley is.
I know, it really is. And I always joke that I'm an 80s girl and I'm not a techie at all. And if I can figure out the volley machine and use it with ease, I guarantee you everybody can. All right, that was a fantastic drive by Jackson out of the deuce side. Matrka is serving and Ellie Halbauer is returning. Cruz and Matrka are up 3-2 in the first set.
This is where I think Liz, she's slowing Marie down right at this moment. You could just see it.
Yep.
That was just kind of like it's so easy for Matrka to try to go up tempo, but that's not what they need to do. They need to be super disciplined here. And, Liz and Marie started out of the box totally under control. I think now you see Halbauer and Jackson have settled in. And we've got a real match. And now I think it's going to be interesting to see what tactics start developing here, or if there's any shift in tactics. Okay, see, we know Matrka is going to be hitting a lot of the overheads here. I like what Jackson's doing, taking away that corner when she sees Marie getting ready to hit. I like that Jackson is cutting that ball off. I think that's going to serve her team well, because she can cut more of those balls aiming to the corner off, Denise. As you know, then that lets Ellie kind of start sneaking in toward the middle of court and can insert herself in the play a little bit more.
Yes, and that starts with initially just positioning. I'd love to see Jackson position just a little bit more to her right, to your point, Patty, instead of kind of, again, I always talk about balance, but instead of moving and reacting to the ball, to positioning, knowing what her role is and what she's trying to do, to start a little bit further right.
Yeah, and Denise, exactly to your point, if she plays over a little bit more, then when balls get hit up the middle, it puts it on Ellie's forehand naturally. And this is that's why you want the ball on Ellie Halbauer's forehand.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different velocity, power coming off of Halbauer's paddle. It's just, when she connects, it's big.
Yep. I think on that changeover, Marie, Matrka started off a little fast there, and all of a sudden, we're 3-all first set in the finals of the Midwesterns. I believe this is the 13th stop on the tour, the APTA Cup standings, led by Macy Elliott and Lynn Burris there at the top of it. Floor Hanish and Zabori are 3 and 4. Lopez and Page are next, and at number 7 we have Ellie Halbauer, and Jill Jackson's at number 9 in the APTA Cup standings.
So, Patty, fun fact, Halbauer and Matrka teamed up to win the Cleveland tournament this year. So there's no guessing about what each other brings. They know each other's games. Which is it's so fun about this game, how you can just kind of mix and match depending if your partner's available or not. And then come out here and compete in another finals in the tournament.
Well, in the last year's nationals, Jill played with Marie Matrka, and they had a great run until they ran into Hanish and Tabori in the quarterfinals. So to your point, they all know each other's games inside and out.
They ran into the chainsaw in the quarters.
Exactly.
See, I like that middle ball.
I agree. You know, I think a little bit, Denise, when Ellie and Jill are at the net, I think tactically, I feel like Ellie, when she gets her overheads, she's challenging Maria Maturka, kind of like almost, I'm going to take you on and try to take you out. I think Ellie's sort of ignoring Cruz a little bit in that deuce court because I feel like she's just wants to go after Marie because they're friends a little bit, where I think tactically it would serve Jackson and Halbauer well to get more play, you know, to the middle and over, or make Cruz do some scrambling and open and try to, you know, break her down a little bit, create some movement over there for Cruz to defend.
Yes. And that last lob just off of Cruz's left shoulder forced the error. So again, I'd love to see some more lobs over Cruz's head to either force a tougher overhead for Matrka or pull Cruz off the net to hit the overhead.
But see right here in the baseline, see how the ball was over to Cruz and Ellie's brings it back to Matrka. And I think they need to go 2 or 3 or 4 times to Cruz, not switching it back and forth so much, in my opinion.
30 ball.
And that's where, when it does go back and forth, that's where she's got to really realize, okay, I don't have anything here, so just make sure I don't miss. Just go in lockdown unless you get your awesome forehand, you know, an opportunity to hit your awesome forehand.
It was a great dig by Halbauer. Matrka just overhit that a little bit coming in, which allowed Halbauer to get that off the screen.
Shout out to Todd Wise, our tournament director. He's done a great job with the Midwesterns. Thanks to Todd.
100%. And his committee of Ron Bergatti, Chris McKiernan, and Amy Lutz, they're always putting on such a great tournament here. Midwesterns was for sure my favorite tournament. And actually, when I started playing, Amy Lutz would be in the tournament too. She's super fun. So
You have super fun with everybody, is what I think.
no, you don't understand. Midwesterns was like, thank you, Patty. I like to have fun. Don't get me wrong, but they just do it right. They create such an awesome environment here at Midwesterns. It's so inviting and, you know, very well organized always on the court and provide a ton of fun off the court. So I'm glad to be still a part of it in a small way, commentating it with you, but a little jelly that, you know, about the not being a part of all the big fun factor that happens when that's not filmed. And I don't think anybody would want it to be.
Hey, Denise, did you know that sign-ups start this? I believe registration opens this Wednesday for the Nationals hosted in Philly at the Cricket Club, led by Bruce Redpath and his team. It'll be a 64 draw plus a 32 men's challenger draw on the men's side and a 64 draw on the women's side. And the event is going to take on a little different scheduling in that they're going to start play on Thursday of that weekend, and they'll go Thursday, Friday, and play will conclude under the lights Saturday night with the men's final. So looking forward to an awesome Nationals. Lots of planning, lots in the works. It's going to be a great event the second weekend in March.
That's the weekend everybody's playing for and looking forward to. spectators and players alike. I know a lot of people that are traveling to Philly that aren't even playing in the tournament, but just want to be part of the fun factor.
That's right.
Sorry, there I go again, talking about fun.
You can't help it. It's a part of the sport.
100%. I really like that move by Halbauer right there. I noticed the execution wasn't there, but that's a pressure drive that I think she needs to be trolling for all the time.
Game, Cruz, Matrka. Cruz,
That was a big game, Cruz Matrka.
3, first set.
Yeah, Jackson Halbauer on that was a key point, and they got switched on the baseline there, and I was surprised that they didn't call a switch and get themselves back so that you have Ellie in her ideal attack position coming out of that ad court. Once again, a shout out our umpire Dave Najedlik is doing a great job, and he's up in that lovely chair thanks to Mark Kebe and his efforts. Mark, on behalf of Total Platform Tennis, does a great job throughout the Midwest. Helping APTA get their umpire chairs from site to site. They hook over the top, and that's why you'll often see a ladder by the side of the courts, because that's the only way to get that umpire up in that chair. Thanks, Dave, and thanks, Mark Kebe.
I could never be an umpire. I give them a lot of credit sitting up there. I mean, first of all, not having like a stable support under me, I don't know. I know it's stable up there, but it just looks a little slim shady to me. Number one. Number two, you're up there braving the elements for possibly up to 4 hours. Some of these matches have gone just shy of 4. So I think I give them all the credit in the world for their time and energy they give to this sport.
Well, it takes a village to pull off these events. So many people. Shout out to Karen Najedlik, the wife of our umpire for this match. Karen's doing a great job for the APTA, overseeing every single tournament, a monumental undertaking.
Yeah.
Karen is handling for the APTA, and the tour has grown. I think we have 21 or 20 live stream events, weekend after weekend. APTA membership helping to support and showcase all the game's top players, and an event like today, this is really fun to see some different people who aren't named, no offense to our top our top couple of ranked teams in the country currently. It's just fun to see some of the different players, and here in the Midwest, the growth of women's paddle. We had Heather Prop on yesterday a little bit. Heather's a great player. We'll hear from her a little bit in the second set. She's done a great job mentoring some of these young women. And here we have, 3 Cincy women in the finals of the Midwesterns. Kudos to them. What a great way to showcase their talent.
Super cool. All right, Patty. I don't know if you just saw that, but Matrka just hit a freaking amazing cutter, and Halbauer ran it down. You don't see many cutters on the women's tour, and she executed it brilliantly, and Halbauer with her wheels ran it down. That was, an amazing display of talent. Great little chip by Jackson. Again, nothing flashy, but super effective.
Yeah, really smart to recognize where there was a little opening in front of her to go with that off-speed ball.
Oof.
I was not going to dive. Sorry.
She was there.
Yep.
She's saying, I had that.
Yeah, you knew Halbauer was going to take a crack at that. And see, that's what I'm saying. You can see the friendship between Matrka and Halbauer. And Halbauer's like, come on, Marie, you didn't come up with that. Like, I do feel like she's taken her on a bit.
Yeah, no, just all 4 are just so classy and have such great sportsmanship. I was really excited about this match for many reasons, but mainly just because they're all just such great people, and I knew it was going to be a clean, good, awesomely competitive match. So. Cruz, they've switched sides here. Be interesting to see if they play this any differently. They're still going after that ad side now, even though Cruz is over there.
I think it's the play because even though you know Cruz is going to hit a million balls back, she just doesn't have that explosive factor. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Come on. Oh, it just brings a smile to my face. Halbauer. I mean, if anybody, I'm not trying to be biased here, but if any of the four of the players were to execute that shot, I'd be having the same reaction. That was just, and the timing required and the talent to execute that shot is, you know,
It was
beyond me. Yeah. I like how they're taking a little time here. 4-all, Halbauer serving, Liz Cruz returning.
I think that lets us, you know, it's a good a time for a fact to follow up on. If you didn't know this about Ellie Halbauer, you probably just figured it out by that shot that she just came up with and all her other ones. She turned pro. She played on the Pro Tour. She was ranked as high as 260 in the world. She turned pro at 15 years old. She's the real deal.
It's not too bad, Patty. Not too bad at all. I like that overhead, firm, right to the body. I don't know one player that likes a hard ball hit right at them. You know, when you're able to move to the ball, you're in control and you're reading it. When it hits at you, you have no choice but to react. So sprinkling those in is a wise decision. There's that hunting Matrka over the center line, pulling the trigger on that ball. I don't hear any calling, Patty, for Halbauer and Jackson. I don't know if it's happening. Maybe it's just
And understanding.
Yeah, that always makes me a little nervous because in key points, that's a great close. The earlier you know whose ball it is, again, the rate of execution goes up.
And the thing is, Matrka, how many balls in a row is she giving to that Ellie Halbauer overhead? Most of them. She's got to start moving. She's got to move her lob around more. She's got to lob over Jill's head. We talked about that earlier. But she's just got to mix up her lob. Mix up the height and the depth. And the placement.
It's the same on both sides of the court. It's the same point I was making about hitting more lobs over Cruz's head instead of having Matrka hit majority of the overheads. So I love when teams just take a moment to just check in after each point. Halbauer and Jackson do that consistently.
And, we said Matrka, trying to lob. She is lobbing up the line there, but you can see definitely the tactic that Jackson and Halbauer is that they're going to move over, and Jackson is just getting off the court. The woman in pink just slides to her right, so there's no need. They don't even have to talk about you, me, because that's their tactic that they're playing. That's their overhead scheme. I just think it involves way too many balls to
All I agree.
But, that's just so much respect that three-time national champ Cruz commands out of that deuce court. And I think that I feel like when Ellie hits to Matrka, she knows Matrka's going to bring it a little bit more, Denise, if that makes sense. And I think she wants that. She wants that pace of play.
That was a great cutoff by Halbauer there. Good read. And of course, an awesome dig by Cruz. Cruz just makes things look really easy. All the time. Wow. Let's go.
Phenomenal.
Wow. Speaking of making things look easy.
Yep. Really good lob from Matrka early in that point. I love that she went for a little bit more depth on that ball.
The longer this point goes, Patty, the more importance the significance I believe it has. I'm not. Did that hit the seam there? What?
Let's just say it did.
Let's say it did.
Yeah, I think it hit the seam.
Unlucky. Unlucky. That was a great point by all four players. Wow. Bringing this to 30 all.
The completion of this match, we will have men's finals action, Denise. With we've got some Cincinnati people involved in that as well.
Absolutely. Number 1 seed Fraser West versus number 2 seed Bentheim and Humphreys.
That's right. Midwest versus Northeast.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's going to be a phenomenal match. Bentheim Humphreys played one tournament last year. I think they played the Pittsburgh Steel City Classic and won that event. They're a phenomenal team together. They teach together over at Short Hills this year. And West and Fraser, oh boy, lights out, amazing team. So it's going to be great action before you start watching football this afternoon.
Here we go.
And this is the point, it's a point, and that's why all the players are what I call in lockdown mode. No one's really risking anything because no one wants to miss.
I love Jackson's consistently keeping Matrka on the service line or beyond, which is, I mean, that's like, what is that, 20 lobs, 25?
Yep, and I'd love for her to get a little closer to the baseline here, Denise. Just take a little bit more time away. She's playing great defense, and, the deeper you play, the closer to the back screen, the better you are able to defend a lot of the spins and pace. But I feel like it's critical to take time away from the net team. Miss there on game point, and Cruz Matrka up 5-4, first set, Midwestern Finals. Denise, where's the tour going next?
The tour is headed to Boston for the Grand Prix next weekend. That's always, again, they put on a fantastic tournament there. After that, the following weekend is the Ridgewood Classic. And then we're coming back to hometown Highland Park, Illinois for the Birchwood Open, where Allison and Adam Morgan put on a great tournament. So the season continues with action on every single weekend from now until Nationals.
And then beyond Nationals.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We talk about Team Nationals. Mike Raleigh does a phenomenal job running the event in Chicago, and Greg Morgan does a great job running the event in New Jersey at Canoebrook. Mike hosts it out of Exmoor Club. New Jersey's getting a lot of help. A big part of the event in Jersey will be hosted out of Indian Trail Club, thanks to Anthony Casamano, the great director over there, and he has a great willingness to be involved with the APTA, helping to run these tournaments. So we're looking forward to a ton of action that won't even be over until late, a little bit. Second weekend in April, I think, will be your first break, Denise. Did you know that? No.
I do now. All right, this is a big game, Patty. Obviously, 5-4. Matrka, Cruz are up with Marie Matrka serving.
Love 15.
And Ellie Halbauer is returning from the ad side. Matrka serving. So, you know, I'm going to play points one at a time. See, that's the pressure. Ellie was kind of floating in, coming in behind that. And, you know, the first volley can a lot of times be hard enough to navigate, let alone the corner of your eye. You see a Ellie Halbauer coming in behind it. It's a little unsettling.
Well, the thing is, Ellie's going to jump on anybody's serve in the women's game, don't you think? That's how
Yes.
good she is off of the deck.
Yep.
You know, and for them to win this match, I think we know she's got to bring it. She's got to get some more looks to keep bringing it.
It's a good nick by Cruz.
Perfect time for a nick. Be interested to see what happens here. Matrka, I don't know if you noticed, Denise, you probably have because you're a great teaching pro. I mean, when Matrka serves, her tosses off to the right, and her body seems to go to the right before it goes straight ahead toward the net. It seems like she loses like a valuable tiny bit of time to get in better position on that volley, for that first volley from Halbauer. You know, she goes right and then she goes in. I hadn't really noticed that before. I haven't seen her play that much.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an S curve. She goes to right and then veers back left in order to cover. But you know what? She's so fast and her hands are so darn good that it doesn't seem to be hurting her too much. But in the event that the ball was put in a tricky spot, that little bit of lost time, to your point, Patty, could be a factor.
Yeah, I just think it's like a half a step closer in for that first volley. First confusion, kudos to the lobbing spots from Jackson and Halbauer. That's what they have to do, create more of those moments for Cruz and Matrka. All four players playing the score right now, right, Denise?
Right.
Down tempo all of a sudden. Oh, really good deep lob from Halbauer out of that ad court.
Wow, great dig by Matrka. I like it. I like the tempo. And then when did they get an opportunity to add pace? But I'm not a big fan of pace. Because the colder the day, the more energy you give the ball. That's just helping your opponents.
Wow. Good point by Cruz just to kind of hold it. The play got switched over to Matrka. She got the forehand. She got an awesome forehand. You just can't give. I just think if you're Jackson Halbauer, you just can't challenge Matrka in those moments. We have a set point here for Cruz and Matrka. First set, women's finals, Midwesterns. Curious to see if Jackson would, surprise him and take one drive off that backhand, just to kind of keep them a little more honest on their overheads.
It was a great get by Jackson. That ball flew out of the neck and Wow, that was so cash. I thought that ball was called out. Oh,
See, I think this is an ideal time for Halbauer to take some rollers and take it right at the deuce court at, Cruz. Hit that really heavy roller overhead and make her chase that ball out to the side screen versus hitting kind of like the flatter shot, giving her kind of routine double screen. She's never missing.
yeah, no, she could hit those with her eyes closed and with her left hand and with one leg.
And with her sneakers on too.
That was a fantastic point, everybody.
Score is deuce.
That was a clutch. All right, we have deuce. Marie Matrka serving. Jill Jackson returning. Matrka Cruz up 5-4. This is critical game. I love Cruz's just low trajectory carve on these overheads. She's balanced. She's letting that ball drop. It's really limiting the offensive looks that Halbauer and Jackson can bring. The ball just stays down.
How does she hit it, Denise? What does she do? What's the key?
Well, first of all, she's getting sideways immediately, and she's setting her paddle low. And then just waiting. That's the thing, is just waiting for this ball to drop just a little bit further below your normal contact zone. That's the biggest reason why the ball just not hit with less effectiveness is you get impatient and you go to reach up to hit that ball instead of letting it drop.
I totally agree with you. 100% of the time, Denise.
100%, Patty. That's a good percentage.
It is a good percentage.
I'll take it.
All right, second set point, excuse me, for Cruz Matrka.
It'll be interesting if Halbauer goes right down the line with this return. Sometimes she does this on big points. And she didn't there. Good pressure. Oh, wow.
Really good scrambling there.
Really good.
Jackson and Halbauer staying this point. See, that's the overhead that, can help you open up the court. You can clearly see it.
Wow. Wow. I mean, hats off to Jackson. She did not stop those feet and just hauled her butt to that ball. That was fantastic play. That was a big rundown, Patty.
More, you think about this football this afternoon. It's clear in football who's on offense, who's on defense, and you can see here, the court got opened up. There were some offensive moments. But defense wins. Don't they say that in the NFL? I don't know if it's still the way it goes. Probably not with Mahomes, but I think you got to be able to defend the baseline, and that's what Jackson and Halbauer did in that point. Oh my Lord, great saves.
But
And
I
again,
really love that down the line roller. That it just when
Me
you
too.
sprinkle that in, Patty, when you were mentioning that earlier.
Yeah, Halbauer's got to take that shot at Cruz more in the second set here, regardless of the outcome of the first. And Matrka has the same shot, and she's going to be doing it more to Jackson, I think. You see how Jackson's retreating pretty deep there, Denise? And this is where I want her to kind of hold her ground at that baseline. Just try to block lob off of some shorter swings. Just take a little bit of time away and maybe get a little bit more precision on her, on some spots where she can hit her lobs to try to cause a little more confusion than what she's currently doing. See that roller? Boy, that ball had wicked spin.
All right, and that's the end of the first set. We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM.
Want to see how Volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends and you'll get a free 30-day trial of Volley. Experience firsthand how Volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
James thinks this is going to be a quick in and out for a water valve. But what James is about to realize is that there are tons of different water valves. Hundreds, in fact. Do you want half-inch or a quarter? Globe or gate? Chrome? Brass? PVC? What even is PVC? Sounds fancy. Oh no, we don't need help. He's a grown-up. Wait, James, where are you going? Oh, not again. You could be like James, or you could just call Roto-Rooter.
And away go troubles down the drain.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the 2025 Midwesterns in Cincinnati, Ohio, with this women's final between number 1 seed Ellie Halbauer and Jill Jackson versus number 3 seed Liz Cruz and Maria Matrka. I'm here with Patty Hogan. The first set was won by the 3 seed Cruz and Matrka 6-4, and it was just a fun-filled set, and we're looking forward to some more action in this second set. Patty.
All right.
What are your thoughts?
Well, Denise, you know what, Denise? I'm going to get our thoughts. I want to hear from the one and only Heather Prop. Heather, welcome.
Hi, good to join you guys again.
Heather, so what a first set there. You know, action-packed, really good play. What are your thoughts on what, if you're coaching Halbauer and Jackson right now, what would you think that they could add tactically to make a difference here in this second set?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's everything that I wanted that match to be. It's exciting. I mean, great athleticism from everybody. I have to say I was a little surprised starting off that they are hitting the ball to Marie at the baseline. Matrka is just... she's a phenom. So I was surprised that they didn't start hitting it to Liz Cruz first, pulling Matrka out and then going behind her. That's kind of the strategy I feel that the Matrka and Cruz are doing when they're at the net. And it's worked for them. So I expect them to change their strategy a little bit, maybe play Liz Cruz a little more, make her move more, bring Marie out, and then go behind Marie. That would be my coaching suggestion to them, yes.
And what do you like that you see out of Cruz and Matrka?
Well, they've got their plan. They are at the net. They are going to the deuce side to Jill Jackson, even though Jill's doing a wonderful job. But eventually they're wearing her down, or they're hitting it behind Ellie Halbauer, so that, if she's digging the ball out of the side screen, she can't be the force in the middle. And I think that has been a really great strategy for them.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, how exciting is it, Heather? You were the tournament chair. You won this event a million times. You were the tournament chair a million times. You're a huge influence on the rise of Cincinnati women and the level of play. And for, in the nationals discussion, we have 3 women from Cincinnati. That's got to make you so proud, Heather.
Yeah, I texted them earlier and I just said, you guys have a great match. We're just so proud of the way that you compete. They are having fun. They are just ultra talented, and it's great for Cincinnati. I am very proud. They're doing a great job. They're representing really well.
All right, here in the second set, taking us out is Jill Jackson and Liz Cruz returning. Her partner, Jill Jackson's partner, Ellie Halbauer, is at the net. And we've got Maria Matrka coming in from the ad side in the white hat.
Okay, Heather, when Denise and I went on air, we each picked our team, and we picked a team, and we just picked a team because we could have picked either team to win, but we just thought it would be fun to pick a team and say why they're going to win or whatever. So, Denise, your team, down 6-4. Your team.
Yeah, I
Your
know, Patty.
team.
Would you? The question is, would you have brought this up if my team would have won the first set, Patty?
So it's only fair that for the second set we switch. So I'm going to say Halbauer and Jackson are going to win the second set because they're going to make the following adjustments. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Halbauer's got to hit that roller overhead at Cruz straight ahead and open up that court. And I think their baseline play, I think there's something that they could do. You know, I said how Jill can cheat over and block up that corner a little bit more. But
Yes.
there's a situation that I think Ellie could create more offensive opportunities for herself. And I'll point it out when it happens when they are the net team. But I'm going to say that Halbauer and Jackson are going to win this second set.
Okay.
Denise, how come your team's going to win the second set? You have Cruz and Matrka. How come they're going to win this? Or what
Well,
do they have to do differently?
I think that I don't think they need to do really anything differently. I think Cruz needs to just continue to be the little birdie in Matrka's ear, just reminding her to play within herself, reminding her of the strategy and game plan. And if they do just that, they'll be victorious. If Matrka starts to press a little bit too hard or get a little bit over her skis, then then the tides could turn. So that's my 2 cents, Patty.
All right.
We will see how this plays out.
How much money do you have in your pocket?
I have 0 money in my pocket.
Oh, so I can't ask for 2 cents in 3 more games?
No, but I do have a necklace that my daughter Isabel made me for Christmas. That's my now my new good luck charm. So, but I'm not giving that up. Sorry, that's not on the table.
There's that. So you can see Matrka going after Jackson, and then again, Halbauer trying to insert herself here. I think the thing is with Jackson's position, playing so deep in that deuce court, I want her to sneak up a little bit. I've said this before, but I think that when Matrka is hitting these overheads, we know she's not using the middle of the court. And I think what's happened is Ellie kind of is giving she's opening up a big hole over toward that side corner. And I think if Jill can get some good deep lobs where she can get that person to the left hitting from around the service line, I actually think Ellie could scoot over closer to the side, not to the side screen, but over that way. So it would just open up a big forehand. I know that she loves that two-handed backhand, but I don't know. I'm loving her forehand. And I just feel like she could create some more forehand opportunities for herself from the baseline that way. We'll see.
Yeah. As much as she loves her backhand, we haven't seen a big, many backhands coming from that corner. We've seen some big forehands, but that was a nice hold starting that second set by Jackson and Halbauer. Up 1-0 in the second set.
That's my team.
Hey, Patty.
So, Heather, a lot of times when we call matches, before we go on the air, we'll talk about, hey, I think it's fun to make a bold pick. And sometimes I do it with all seriousness. This weekend, I have a little tongue-in-cheek thanks to my time spent with Rusty Seams yesterday. But I think it's kind of fun to, pick a team and say why they're going to win or what they have to do in order to win the next set. Just kind of makes it fun to watch. Think about it differently.
I can't pick a team. I like all of them too much.
Anyone from Cincy?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, that's what I said. It's hard. I never like to. I didn't like having to pick because I love all 4 of these players. But when Patty asks for something, Heather, I've learned to just I got to follow through.
Just make up something, Denise.
Yeah.
You did good.
Well, Heather, we talked yesterday. You've been in, you won, I believe, 8 of these, of the Midwesterns and have been in the finals so many times. So how, like, if you were playing and down the first set, which you probably never were, what do you think your mindset is right now?
Oh, wow. Well, I'm not sure if they're changing their strategy yet, but, I always think of change a losing strategy and just tweak a few things. And you guys are spot on in what you think they should be doing to win this second set. And, yeah, Ellie needs to do more rollers, create more chaos, make Liz move a lot more than she's doing right now. So hopefully she will, get on board with what you guys are saying. It might change the whole dynamic of the match.
Well, Heather, one thing that you would know the answer to in the first set, it seemed like Matrka was challenging Ellie, and Ellie was challenging Matrka because they're friends in a way.
You're so right. Yes.
Okay, instead of going with some kind of a strategy that was a repeatable thing, it was just, I'm going to go after you and you go after me.
Yep. I think it worked better for Marie's side right now. So. I think, they're such good friends. They play each other all the time. I think that's just, again, it's a challenge for them to beat each other.
Okay, I like that overhead that Halbauer just hit, that down up, not giving that ball a whole lot of pace and, giving Matrka a different screen. It's coming in a different trajectory. It can be tricky for your timing. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, Patty, I do agree with you that, Jill has been working on being more offensive at the baseline. I just think she maybe is going back to her, just stand back and get the ball in play. But I think she needs to do a little more to help get Ellie in the play as well. She might be a little nervous, doing that, stepping up to the baseline. She's used to being back, picking up, the lobs and setting up Ellie, but it's not working as well.
And it's bold to stand in a little bit, but if you can shorten up your backswing, keep your elbows in pretty close to your body, set that wrist, and just like a short little blocking kind of lob that just could take away time and cause a little more confusion would be great, I think.
Absolutely. So for the viewers, there's 2 different types of lobs. There's the defensive, like we're talking about, which we're seeing Jackson do majority of the time. And then there's that offensive lob that Patty and Heather are talking about, which it just takes a little bit of time away from the net team to recover, and that could put them in a compromised position. But it starts with stepping up a little bit closer to the baseline, and to Patty's point, just shorten up your backswing, and all contact is in front of you. That's what I think is interesting. A lot of people just think a lob is a defensive shot, and it can be used in a very offensive way, because without the offensive lob, you don't get typically a lot of offensive drive looks. Like you need one for the other.
Yep, and that's the second time Matrka teed off on the overhead, and kudos to Jill Jackson. I mean, right there, it was like she was running after one of her 4 kids. She just was determined to get that no matter what. And that's where, Matrka and Cruz kind of watched it. They didn't keep themselves maybe on top of the net because there's no way Jackson was going to lob that ball. Where they kind of stood and watched and gave her a little room in front of them, and she pulled off a miraculous shot.
I'm sure when Jill Jackson looks back and watches this match, she's going to know exactly which kid you just. She's going to be like, oh, yeah, that would be so-and-so. And she would get him every time.
I don't know who it was. It definitely wasn't Isabel. I'm going with Miles or Calvin.
I'm going Calvin.
Yeah, those youngest ones.
It's a great ball. Way to lean into that by Halbauer.
You know, I just think, Heather, you've seen Matrka play a lot, and like, I would say she does get sucked in a little bit to that vortex when it's like that fast paced back and forth, and she'll hit another shot that challenges her opponent versus throwing up a lob, slowing it down, starting again. You know, that recycling, you know, resetting herself in a way.
Well, I mentioned that to her yesterday, and she says, hey, I've improved. When I played with you, I used to do that about 15, 20 times during a match, but now I only do it about 7 or 8. So I think she's aware, but she just can't help herself sometimes, and she just still needs to be a little more disciplined and throw up that lob, but she says she's gotten better, so she's at least aware of it.
Well, I just think it's something about that combination against Halbauer because they're friends, just kind of going at each other a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, they are. I agree with you.
So Roto-Rooter, headquartered right here in downtown Cincinnati, Roto-Rooter has been a dedicated sponsor of the Midwesterns tournament for the past 10 years. Roto-Rooter is North America's largest provider of residential and commercial plumbing, repair, sewer, and drain services. Special thanks to APTA member and Roto-Rooter president Robert Goldschmidt and his team for their loyal support. We hope we don't need their services this weekend in Cincinnati.
But if you do, that's the company to call. All right, so Liz Cruz is serving. Ellie Halbauer returning right now. Cruz Matrka up 2-1 in the second set.
2 games in a row here for Cruz Matrka. This is where Jackson Halbauer have to play a really solid game.
I love the directive by Cruz there. Telling Matrka to slide over to the ad side when they ran down that lob. Again, the leadership and experience by Cruz, unmatched.
Heather, we've heard a lot about the top women in Cincinnati here. Tell us a little bit of the top men, the homegrown Cincinnati players on the men's side.
Oh, wow. Well, I think, you know, now that Eric West and Tyler Frazier are teamed up, I think they're just going to, you know, keep getting better with each other. And I'm hoping the best for them, that they are going to take it all to nationals and win this year. So those two right now are our shining stars in the men's game.
Speaking of Tyler Frazier, Olivia Frazier messaged in saying how she's enjoying this game, watching the players. She's a Cincy girl, obviously married to Tyler, and awesome player in person and teacher.
And expecting their second child. So
yeah, mom to Tommy, and congrats. All right, so 3-1, dangerous time. Halbauer Jackson, I like that they're taking a little bit of time here.
Yes.
I think right now they should be thinking one thing. What would Liz Cruz do right now? They got to pull out a little tactical adjustment.
I thought you were going to say, what would Patty Hogan do right now?
No.
Or Heather Prop. Either one are foolproof, as well as Liz Cruz. All right, here we go. Jill Jackson serving. Liz Cruz returning. This is a critical game right here. We so far have not seen a whole lot of adjustment from the first set. Looking for Halbauer to bring that roller down the line to Cruz. Wow. Okay. Come on. I think they're all 4 players are a little stunned by that. Never say never. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Awesome. Good shot of Liz Cruz out of that deuce court. Steady Eddie, just keeping one more ball back. Kind of flawless play over there. Made very few unforced errors throughout this match so far.
Yeah. I know she wanted that one back. It was just a low percentage target based on how far away she was from the net. But great job to Matrka running that ball down. Love 30. I really love the combo. Liz Cruz hits that little crafty chip that brings the Jackson up to the net, perhaps a little closer than a hard return because it's softer. And then she just dumps that ball, lobs it, and dumps it right behind her. So that's just a great little 1-2 combo that can lead to a drive. It's been very effective this match.
And I think Matrka missed an open court there. I think that's where as she gains confidence as a player and a little better decision making, you know, she never misses that shot in that situation. It's just transition. The other team was out of there. Just roll that shot because, you know, don't go for a sideline, even though that's what Rusty Seams would recommend. I wouldn't recommend it.
Wow. Great hands and great gut.
Cruz is doing a good job, switched over to that ad court. And that, you know, the Halbauer overhead, the roller doesn't do as much damage to Cruz in that ad court typically as it does in that deuce court. There she got one. Ball just took off with that side screen. Awesome overhead.
She just gets so much rotation on that ball and can mix up the paces so well. It's really difficult to anticipate what's coming until it's actually on its way. That one, she gave it a little extra pop and just flew off the back screen. Great lob by Matrka. Oof.
Oop, right there. We didn't really want Cruz hitting that ball. We would have loved for Matrka to take it, keep themselves settled in, because they're very comfortable as a net team in this match. And very few times where, you know, it was like that, a jump ball kind of.
Again, just watch Cruz's movement. Whoa. That's a great pressure move by Halbauer.
But again, look what she just did. She brought the ball down instead of lobbed it, and it gave Halbauer a chance. I think Jackson just needs to keep doing more of that.
It's a good return from Matrka.
Really
Matrka
good.
owed Cruz one because Matrka put that ball on that other volley right on Halbauer's paddle. all she had to do was volley straight to kind of neutralize the moment, but she fed her, so she made up for it with that shot. And I just think in these critical moments, you know, your explosiveness comes from Halbauer for Halbauer Jackson, and it comes from Matrka with Matrka Cruz. So I just kind of feel like in those moments, that's why if you're not the one who's a little bit less explosive, expect to be hit.
That's a better target. That's the same shot that she got before and went more middle ad instead of trying to thread the needle.
Matrka.
Yes. Great point. That was a nice, well played by all four. But that's that one, the drives that Matrka misses are the ones that she's not really able to move into. That ball, I believe, was hit a little bit deep and had a little bit too much pace. And, you know, she's on the winning side of that sometimes, but if you gather all the information, those are the ones she's missing. When she's able to move into it, it's a devastating drive.
Halbauer Jackson. Cruz, Matrka lead 3 games to 2.
So Corian is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 24-25 season. Corian is excited to partner with the APTA because whether as advisors to our members or as members themselves, they're already part of the APTA community. Learn more at www.corian.com, the official wealth sponsor of the APTA. And speaking of a great partner, Heather Propp, you're a great partner to Cincinnati, to every partner in the game, friend to all. Thanks so much for coming into the booth, and enjoy the rest of the finals, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks to both of you for doing so much for paddle. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, Heather, it's been awesome having you. And I know that these 3 Cincinnati players, without your mentorship, would not be the players they are today. So thank you for all you have done and give back to the game.
All right, thanks. See you guys.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
Okay, so Matrka serving here. It's Jill Cruz in the pink on the near side. That's Liz Cruz hitting the overhead with the pink sweatshirt on the far side. And there's a great shot of Ellie Halbauer out of that ad court. Cruz Matrka up 3-2. Second set of the finals. They won the first set 6-4. Denise, this is kind of the match we expected. We thought it would be pretty close. I thought, you know, that, you know, the play of Liz Cruz, I thought, would really determine the outcome of this match, and she's been rock solid, steady. I think this match could easily go 3 sets because I feel like Halbauer is not going to be denied very easily here. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like she has it within her game to put a lot more pressure on and try to dictate things here, and I'm going to be intrigued to see if she can insert herself more.
Yep, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, all 4 very talented players, and we've mentioned it several times, but Liz Cruz's experience and knowledge of the game is kind of the rock for Matrka, keeping her in playing within herself. And if Halbauer could just literally, it's the slight nuances could make a big difference in this game if she could adjust a few of her targets on her overheads and look to pick off some more of the, change her positioning at the baseline to open up more of those forehands. I think we're looking at a 3-setter for sure.
You mentioned earlier, Halbauer and Matrka teamed up. They won the Cleveland event over Steiner and Wilson. Matrka played with the Rapalli Hall, where they beat Halbauer and Jackson in the Bourbon Ball final. And so, interestingly, Matrka is in a position to notch her third win on the APTA Tour this season. Denise?
30, 40.
Not surprising. All right, this is a big point for Halbauer Jackson if they can break Matrka here. Great lobs by Jackson out of that deuce side. Again, I'm just watching the feet of Cruz and Matrka. Wow, that's a great overhead, especially from off the net. What I was going to say is when the feet are, I'm looking to see how the depth of that lob, the deeper that lob, the less that Matrka can put on it, the less angles she has to hit in a high percentage way. So great lobbing from Jackson that Matrka came up with a fantastic overhead there. I love that little chip. Again, that when she does that little block chip instead of a block lob, that can lead to Halbauer bringing her big forehand or backhand. Yep. Great close. They need to do more of that. That's a fantastic 1-2.
Advantage, Halbauer.
And super, calm play from Halbauer there to just chill on that volley that went for a winner. It was not hit. She didn't take a big backswing or big follow through, so it was not going to be able to be run down, by Matrka there. I think a lot of times you see players who follow in a really good drive and get on top of the net, and then they kind of flail when they get up there and hit a shot that ends up being, an easy screen for one of the players on the other team. Great dipping ball, forced the volley error from Cruz right there. 3-all, second set, finals of Midwesterns.
Patty, we've probably seen more offense in that last game from Halbauer than we have in the last 5. So I like the trend. It's paying off. Jackson needs to keep doing that to give Halbauer looks. When she connects with that ball, she meaning Halbauer, it's devastating for Cruz and Matrka. I like those high trajectory balls that are coming in. It just I feel like they're a little bit more difficult for Matrka to navigate. Way to stay in the pocket for Jackson. She just stayed in with her shoulders forward, ready to absorb that ball from Matrka.
Yep, I'd call a switch. I'd get Halbauer back over right now in this point. I think Jackson's done a great job. It's a long point, and it's a critical point. And I just feel better if Ellie's the player to the left for them. It's that fine line. Jackson's contact point is much higher than Halbauer's on the overheads, and can give Matrka a little bit of trouble, or it presents the forehand of life for Matrka. That's the fine line.
The forehand of life. That's amazing, Patty. I've heard the tree of life. I've never heard the forehand of life. That's good stuff right there. But I agree. But the flip side of that, the pace of Jackson's overheads, I like giving them just a little bit different look. But I see your point.
And you could say, hey, look, they didn't lose the point off Jackson's overheads. Ellie gets the overhead, but she set up Cruz. Cruz was just kind of waiting over there and, forced the volley error. I don't know. That's just why I just like Jackson playing to the right of Halbauer as they just get set and then go from there and improvise and do whatever you want to do from there versus the reverse positions.
I want to shout out real quick, Patty, you know Chelsea Middle. It's her birthday today. So awesome player, amazing person. And so I wish her all the best and an awesome day with her husband, Ben, and her 2 kiddos, Murphy and Augie. So.
Former finalist nationals.
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to sing happy birthday? No, let's not do that.
I can't carry a tune at all.
I can double down on that.
Yeah. We're just sending her good vibes. That's a great deep ball by Halbauer. The deeper the overhead, Patty, as you know, the less time the baseline team has to react, and that Matrka made a decision to let that go by and just barely came off the screen. See, I like that ball combined with some bigger balls, but
not sure what happened.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Maybe the ball was out on the baseline there.
Yeah, it must have been.
I'm not sure, but I am sure of one thing. Today's Pam Randazzo's birthday also. Pam, member of Canuber Country Club, heads up the New Jersey Women's Platform Tennis League, a force in Jersey paddle behind the scenes. Happy birthday, Pam.
Happy birthday.
Oof. I'd be bummed too on that miss.
Yeah.
And that, Matrka did a good job, but hit a short ball, and that's where Halbauer tried to force a different kind of overhead. I think she needed to hit a little bit of a slider slash type of overhead right there. Would have been ideal with a ball to her right and dropping fast low.
Again, that's where, I'd love to see them utilizing that middle a little bit more.
Yep.
Call me old school, but when in doubt, the middle.
For sure.
Especially when Matrka's, she's way over, just looking to block. All right, deuce. This is a big game. That critical 7th game, Patty.
Yeah, and it's not just old school. It's everything. It's new school. It's middle school. Literally, it's middle school. Middle school has never been a bad strategy. Like we mentioned yesterday, you see in the men's game, Alvi Regalado and Jose Salazar, they use the middle as much as any men's team. And those guys are having a lights-out season.
See, much better target. See, she put that right in front of Jackson that time. And Jackson slid over and handled the drive. I really like that. Getting reorganized with Jackson on the right. Halbauer hitting primarily the overhead hitter here.
Again, Cruz might have to put on a winter jacket over in that deuce court. She's not getting that many looks. And I think the look she should get is that roller, really hard hit overhead from Halbauer. But Halbauer doesn't seem to be comfortable doing that against Cruz. Wow.
That's where the hunting, when you go too far from home, Patty, even though it feels good and looks good, it can compromise your positioning in a big way. And Halbauer and Jackson just capitalized on that.
See that short one right there? That's the one I think Halbauer should get planted and then just unload with power against Cruz.
Yep.
It's better overhead from Jackson right there. Let that ball get a little lower, a little bit of a slash type of shot. Great lob from Matrka.
Good stuff. Great hands. Yeah, I'd like to see, again, Patty, we've mentioned this several times, but instead of hitting that hard roller to Cruz's right side of her body, aiming more to her left hip. So she's not able to run that, with ease, move into the court and bring her forehand. But that was a phenomenal game, and Halbauer Jackson up 4-3.
Yeah, looking to take it to 3. I think it's kind of meant to be that this is a 3-setter, Denise. It feels like these are two teams that, on balance are obviously quite even. And so it seems only right that we would get a 3-setter out of them.
Patty, and I'm just enjoying my time so much with you. It'd be great to extend this a little bit more.
Oh, I feel the same. A little more Denise time makes anybody's day better.
All right, both teams are chatting, reinforcing strategies. I'm sure Cruz is just rinse and repeat. Like, here's what we need to do. Let's both be on board here with our plan. It's always good to review and stay focused. There's that ball.
Yeah, that's the
that
one.
Could make a difference on the flip side of that.
And you see where it hit on the back screen?
Yep.
Denise came out, and you don't know if it's going to make it to that second screen whatsoever. She totally pretzeled her.
And it's just off that left hip.
Hey, this is a critical moment. There are a lot this weekend. Not only does Midwesterns host a men's and a women's ranking tour event, we also had the men's 110s. That was won by Davidson and Mudra yesterday. And I believe the 90-plus was played on Friday, and Baxter and Wheezy won that match. So a lot of teams played, all different tournaments throughout the 3 days of the Midwesterns. Another phenomenal offering here, hosted by Hyde Park Country Club.
That's a great get by Cruz just now. Running all the way up to the third post on the side screen, Patty.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, she's able to get a lot of balls because her shoulders are always forward, and which means the weight is going to be on the balls of her feet. She's just ready to move all the time. I use her as an example a lot when I'm teaching. I'm like, go watch a live stream. Check out Liz Cruz.
Wow, what a lob from Jackson off the tip of Matrka's paddle there.
I don't even understand what happened there, but a lucky tip.
See, that was a great play from Matrka. She didn't force the action, and she waited a little bit, threw up a little lob volley there, got Jackson totally off balance, nothing she could do, except maybe let the ball go.
Yeah.
Let it bounce. When you're totally off balance like that, it's hard to do, but sometimes you figure out maybe just let the ball drop and turn around and play it off the back screen.
It's a great take.
Again, look at why is Halbauer getting that shot? Halbauer getting that opportunity right there. At this point, critical juncture.
Oh, it was a fantastic lob that caught Cruz off balance, middle of no man's land. That's a key factor in why. Again, Halbauer's feeling it. I like. She's pressure. She's actively looking for the ball. It's I'm not sure if that's a positioning. She's positioning differently, or they're just hitting better lobs, or perhaps Cruz and Matrka are just missing their targets more. It's a great move. Wow.
You know,
All right.
she's looking to take advantage, and I think the thing that I don't see out of Cruz and Matrka is they don't close necessarily. Like, they are in sync and they moved, and it seems like they do a really good job on defending the lobs, but on the drives, they kind of stand around and watch a little bit, and that gives a player like Halbauer just too many openings. I think they could play maybe, go a little bit more aggressive on the volley and look to close at that point, which is a scary thing to do when you see a drive coming. But if you sit back and you're off the net a little bit, back on those heels too much, it just gives a player like Halbauer way too much room for that next shot.
Wow. Really great rundown by Matrka. Again, she's just making this look easy. Most players would be saying, nice shot, like 4 hits ago. Way to pick and stick by Halbauer and Jackson, just keeping Matrka moving and off balance over there on the ad side.
And see,
Cruz.
right there, it was like, it was Ellie going after her friend Marie a little bit, and Marie got sucked in, and that's where Marie has to resist. And even though she has a ball that she can hit sort of an aggressive or offensive shot, she's going to be better off throwing up another lob and taking that, that energy away from Halbauer right in that moment. Because when the play goes to Cruz, you can see she's masterful today at dictating play off of the screens. It's she's getting the better of that.
Really good. I mean, Matrka is doing a fantastic job over there, but, when you've got that pressure consistently, the lobs are kind of getting a little bit shorter, and it's just tough to catch up because now you're off balance, you're out of position. So Halbauer's doing a great job with that. But to your point, I still would love on those shorter lobs for Halbauer to just whip a roller right down the line to Cruz, just to keep her on her toes and. Set point. Wow. And there you go. We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CSM Media.
Want to see how volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends and you'll get a free 30-day trial of volley. Experience firsthand how Volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
James thinks this is going to be a quick in and out for a water valve. But what James is about to realize is that there are tons of different water valves. Hundreds, in fact. Do you want half-inch or a quarter? Globe or gate? Chrome? Brass? PVC? What even is PVC? Sounds fancy. Oh no, we don't need help. He's a grown-up. Wait, James, where are you going? Oh, not again. You could be like James, or you could just call Roto-Rooter.
And away go troubles down the drain.
You're back.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the 2025 Midwesterns in Cincinnati, Ohio, with this women's final between number 1 seed Ellie Halbauer and Jill Jackson versus number 3 seed Liz Cruz and Marie Matrka. I'm Denise Murphy, along with Patty Hogan, bringing you this awesome live action from Hyde Park Country Club. We are now in the third set, Patty, and I think both of us called a very close match. If not, both of us said this is most likely going to a third set. So here we are, Patty. What are your thoughts?
Well, we had a good picture of you, Denise, and also of Dave Najedlik, our umpire. I think we're going to, even umpires need to take a break sometime. They're up in that chair. It's cold and nature calls, so we're going to have a little break here. I think the break is it's good for actually Cruz and Matrka in that Ellie Halbauer, played lights out after the first couple of games in that second set. That she got ignited and she is feeling it here. And I think, she's doing like what she can bring to the table. And what she brings to the table, thanks to Jill Jackson's stellar play. Jill's doing a phenomenal job, really steady, and kind of she knows that the offense comes from Halbauer, and she's getting her a lot of good looks, playing really good defensive-minded paddle from the baseline mostly, but taking her shots when she gets it. And their net play's gotten better here in the second set. A lot of good volleys, a little bit more depth on their volleys, I thought, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellie, but I feel like right now this match is going to be determined by Ellie Halbauer and how determined she is. I'll be curious, Denise, if she goes after Cruz a little bit more. We keep kind of waiting for that to happen, but it hasn't happened, because I think in Ellie's mind, she's just having fun going after her friend Marie a lot, hitting a lot of the overheads into that ad court, where I do feel like she could open up the court a little bit more. And then for Cruz Matrka, I just think they're giving Halbauer way too many balls on the baseline. I would try to neutralize Ellie, take her out of it here, put all of the shots on, really keep a lot of the volleys over to Jackson's side, almost inducing her to take an offensive swing. Make her take some drives and see what you can get. The other thing is Matrka and Cruz. I do think when Ellie gets the ball on, and in particular, we've seen it here on her forehand, they've got to close in and just put themselves in a little better volleying position on top of the net, Denise.
Yeah, I hear you. I think what's the X factor here, or maybe the B side of the movement and offense is Jill Jackson's ability. I mean, when she does that little chip, Patty, her setup for the block lob or block chip is the exact same. So I believe that's what's causing Matrka and Cruz to kind of miss their volley, because they're not expecting it. The ratio is probably 10 lobs to 1 chip. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, here's the chip. It's a low ball. And they're not expecting it. And that's what's, having them miss their targets a little bit, which is leading to Halbauer's offense. So kudos to Jackson for playing her role over there and mixing it up. I'd love to see her continue to do that. But I'm really excited that this went to a third set, not only because I get to spend more time with you, Patty, but I think this is a testament to how talented all 4 players are. And it's a true battle when it goes in the third set. And let's see who can capitalize, strategize the best, and make high percentage choices. It looks like Marie Matrka is starting off this third set. Jill Jackson is returning. So here we go. Nothing like starting off a third set first point with a nick from Cruz.
That's right.
It always helps.
Great shot, a two-handed backhand from Halbauer.
It's just so pretty.
I like it.
But see, so Halbauer wasn't able to move into that. She moved parallel to the baseline. Those are the pressure drives are her bread and butter. When she's not able to move in behind it, that's where either errors happen or it's just an easier ball for Matrka and Cruz to navigate on their volleys. Same thing, moving parallel.
40, love.
And that's the tricky thing, you know, you're moving to cover the middle and then to move yourself toward the court. It's a little bit more footwork than what she's, yeah, it's a footwork issue. And I think, you know, besides footwork,
Cruz, Matrka.
Denise, I think she's got to wait a little bit for the point to develop. She doesn't need to pull the trigger so soon from the baseline. I think Jill Jackson has proved above and beyond in this match. She's doing a great job handling most of what comes her way out of that deuce court. And Ellie's going to get a lot of looks. And I just said I want her to get more looks on her forehand versus her backhand, just because I think of how she could break down Cruz and Matrka with that forehand just a little bit easier here out of that ad court. So Cruz Matrka up 1-love, third set. That's Liz Cruz hitting the return. That's Jill Jackson, Mama 4, woman in pink, woman in pink. Ellie Halbauer up at the net with the light blue pants. And Maria Matrka about to hit that return out of the ad court. Denise, it seemed to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that Matrka made a few more errors from the baseline in that second set than she did in the first set. And I think that she's kind of got sucked into that Halbauer vortex a little bit. And I think this, what I just said about Ellie, how she could wait a little bit and let the point develop a little bit more before pulling the trigger. Like there, Jackson hit a couple of shots before she pulled the trigger. And she was really looking for the middle. And I think the same thing goes for Matrka.
I totally agree. And Halbauer's drive, she finished two steps into the blue on that forehand, and it ended with a ball going in the net. So I'm hoping that she picks up on this trend where when she sees the ball and able to move in, that's when she can create problems. The ones she's missing are just when she's not able. Either she sees it late and not able to move in, or she's just not able to take that step forward. And if she can't, she's got to lob that ball, wait for a better one. That's a great read. Just a good nose for the ball there. Great anticipation by Halbauer.
I love that she cut that ball off, given what Matrka's position was, and she caught Matrka out of that corner. So I think that was a huge ball to cut off.
Just a little too far for Jackson to go.
40, 30.
See, Matrka gets herself in a little bit of funky position, you know. She had a great return. The ball's back at her feet, and there's, you know, I like how she just kept the ball. She kind of went up a little bit versus forcing the next shot.
Yes.
She is so quick and has such phenomenal hands. Look at that beautiful overhead. Best one of the match right there, Denise.
That was going to be trouble. I could see that set up. I mean, her solid foundation on that overhead. She carved that beautifully.
Yeah, she set her feet.
Yep.
You know, her feet were a little bit apart, and her weight was on that back foot, and she just held that shot. That ball, you know, really dropped low, and she hit it, and the ball, you know, was aiming toward Jill Jackson, but then ended up kicking over, you know, toward that ad court side a little bit, caused the error. Great overhead. And that, you know, that's the thing. I think that, you know, in the women's game, those overheads. It's kind of the only way that you can win some points and break down opponents. You need that overhead variety. Wow, what a lob from Cruz.
I mean,
Again.
she's like, oh, I get a ball. And then it's like,
Right. And
it's
then
the ball that causes the most chaos. It just peels the net team to the baseline. Really good overheads by Matrka.
What a phenomenal hold on that shot from Matrka. Just set her paddle, made Halbauer think she was going to drop her. Halbauer was making the move forward and snuck that ball behind her. Great shot. I mean, the hands from Matrka, you're seeing it right here in this game.
Oh my gosh.
Skills.
Just so soft.
And again, fascinating to me. You see Cruz, who's not missed one return to serve in this match. She's not hit a return to serve over 10 miles an hour. Jackson's never missed one, and all of a sudden, early in the third set, everything changes, a lot more pressure, and missed a volley off that, just another off-speed return to serve.
So this pattern is repeating, and it started in the second set, Patty, where Halbauer hits a big shot that brings Matrka well into the court, up to the service line, and then they just go backdoor on her. And whether it works on the first one or the fourth one, they've been getting her a lot on that play. It's very effective. But in order to implement that play, there needs to be a shorter lob that allows her to hit that ball that big. Yeah, it's low percentage. She needs to be a little more patient with that one.
Advantage, Jackson.
And patient, and let the positioning of the other team dictate your shot, not just that you have that shot. Matrka loves that ball, but again, I need a little more patience out of Matrka here, I think, in the early going to keep the pressure on Halbauer and Jackson. Shout out to Randy Markey, who's out in Park City. He loves listening to you, Denise.
Park City, wow. That's amazing. I wonder how the snow is.
Yeah, I haven't gotten my ski update yet. I'll report in when I get it from Randy.
Okay. A lot of full sun here, Patty. All of a sudden, there's a lot of shadows on this court.
Oh, yeah, and get ready. We're gearing up. Men's final to follow immediately at the conclusion of the women's final. We won't have a chance to see the on-court interview after this. As soon as we conclude play, we'll wrap it up, and then we'll turn to men's action with Tyler Frazier and Eric West. Midwest finest up against some finest from the Northeast, Chris Humphreys and Russell Benkheim, both teaching pros. Chris is the director out of the Short Hills Club. Speaking of Short Hills, they're going to host the next Grand Prix. They are gearing up for the 75th anniversary of that event. Phenomenal, longest running event in the sport. And always the group who manage that event and organize it, they leave nothing on the table, Denise. Phenomenal event. They'll have a great champions dinner honoring all the past champions of the Short Hills Invitational. And, a lot of players from the past will come back, including Hank Irvine, my mentor. I believe he's going to come up from Florida for that 75th celebration.
Sounds amazing. All right. Big point here.
What do you think Matrka's pulse is right now? She doesn't seem to have a pulse.
62.
Exactly what I was thinking.
This is just what she does, Patty,
Our pulses are higher.
Yeah, 100%. All right, that was a great point by Halbauer. Jackson back to deuce. There's a little sneaky return. I like that middle ball that Halbauer just hit.
Right there, Matrka is on the baseline, and she just set her paddle, but she kind of didn't really, have the correct footwork. And I think, we talk about footwork from time to time. It's such a key thing. And I think when you're just going to block lob, you've got to set your body, you've got to set your wrist firmly. And the only movement is really from, your paddle, bumping that ball off your paddle, literally, when your legs are active as well. Much harder ball to control on the lob.
And I think she was listening to you, Patty, because she moved her feet pretty well in that point.
Yeah, you got to.
That's a great pressure blitz.
Right, and then you got to stop them.
Yeah. So good. Back to deuce here. Great volley by Jackson. That's just a tricky ball to navigate.
Yeah, see, you can see Matrka really turns her shoulders a lot, and you want to turn, but I think her contact point when she's lobbing off that backhand needs to be a little bit earlier, Denise.
Yep, agreed.
That's the way she can take away time and just get a little bit more accuracy and consistency with it.
Tough ball. Halbauer and Jackson are doing a great job just picking and sticking relentlessly to Matrka's side of the court. And yet another add point for Jackson and Halbauer. Let's see if they can convert this one or not. I love that middle overhead that Cruz hit just to reset and take a breath here. Slowing down the pace just a little bit. Great lob by Jackson. Pushing Matrka and Cruz back to the baseline. Patty, where do you think Jackson and Halbauer are most comfortable, at the net or baseline? Or do you feel like it's even Steven?
It's a lovely question. Against Cruz and Matrka?
Yes.
I assume that. I think at the net, I feel like on the baseline, because of how smooth Liz Cruz is with Marie Matrka in their defense of lobs, I feel like Halbauer Jackson have a better chance to win the point when they're at the net. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with you.
Okay.
I feel I feel like they're more settled, like there's a calmer feeling with them at the net as opposed to the baseline. There's different, Matrka's bringing different paces, different spins. Then you have Liz, who just is putting that ball on a dime wherever she wants. So that can cause a lot of instability for Halbauer and Jackson at the baseline. I love how Cruz comes over to cover that middle or to help out if not needed. Wow. Great get by Cruz. Matrka gives her time to get back. It's textbook Patty. It's a great point by all four players. Really good covering. All right, Liz Cruz serving, Jill Jackson returning.
Denise, it feels a little bit to me like Matrka, this is a critical point for her right now. Is she maybe getting slightly frustrated that, her shots are not necessarily winning points? Because I think that typically when she plays, she can win a lot of points off her, with her power. But, that's not the case with, the defense that Halbauer and Jackson have put up here in this match. I mean, that's the understanding she's got to get. She's got to hang out and let the game come to her. She doesn't need to force it, even though her shots might not really be, something that she feels like, oh, why didn't I hit a winner there? The winners are a function of the other team's play. And so you got to ride those waves, and if she can have that mindset, then that will help her eliminate some of the unforced errors that kind of sneak into her game a little bit.
I totally agree. Oh, wow. It's a great angle.
And I always think, I always think when you're in that ad court and they're working you over a little bit and you get an opportunity to block a ball from the middle of the court, it's important to block it up the line versus middle or cross court, because the other team is set up beautifully to defend that shot and take it back into your corner. So I think if Marie floats over, sees that she has a lob, get it on Jill Jackson's paddle as opposed to letting, Halbauer slide over a little to her right.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just want to have Halbauer stop for a second over in that ad court. Yeah, hold her ground. And if Cruz hits that wide ball, then Ellie is over there and has a swing on every two-handed, and then it could open up the middle of the court more for her forehand. You know what I mean? Versus Ellie running over and playing a defensive shot there. Get over ahead of time, because Cruz is way back off the net, playing closer to the service line, as a result of the good lobs from Jackson out of that deuce court.
Ah, that's exactly, she slid over and stepped up on that one. Really, really great shot. Good stuff. All right, talking. Yeah, go ahead, Patty.
First lead of the match for Halbauer Jackson here, 2-1 in the third set. And we want to thank our sponsors, Volley and Corient. They are official tour sponsors for the APTA. They've been there every tour event of the season, and we can't thank them enough. I mean, get Volley at your club. No excuse not to get a free trial. Get some of your friends together. You can get a free trial at your club for 30 days. Why not do it? And Corient, the official well sponsor of the APTA, they're so excited to be part of our community because they really are already a part of our community, the official well sponsor of the APTA. And thanks to Roto-Rooter for their involvement in this event in Cincinnati, located nearby. Thanks, Volley. Thanks, Corient. Thanks, Roto-Rooter.
All right, we're starting this fourth game, 2-1, Halbauer Jackson up. Just talking a little bit, Patty, about where these two teams came from the semis. Cruz Matrka took down Morgan and Banks. And then Halbauer Jackson played a new team, Sophie Davatilla and Avis Oaks. I want to speak a little bit about Sophie Davatilla. She works with me at Skokie Country Club. She's been playing this game for 3 months, Patty, and her, talk about a steep trajectory. She's got all the skills, and she just needs a little time to percolate, but she's going to be a player. You remember that name because you're going to see it a lot.
I will. Thank you.
And alongside, she's just a great person, and just she'll be an awesome addition to the sport.
Denise, I gave a shout out earlier to Pam Randazzo, who runs the New Jersey Women's Platform Tennis League. Well, she's not the only one who's playing a huge role in the success of that league and its continued involvement and growth. There's a big group, Jenna McClintock in there always, Leslie Stitska. I mean, the list goes on, but Jenna only gave me Jenna's name and Leslie's name, so they're the only ones I can talk about right now, Denise. But they are so pumped for Philly Nationals run by Bruce Redpath. that they've rented an Airbnb and they're having a watch party right now to organize their trip down to Philadelphia for nationals. They're just going to watch the great paddle and have a fun time with their paddle pals. And they go away to camps together. Why not go away to nationals and watch the best players in the game compete? And what a riot that they've got a watch party going on right now, I think in Chatham, New Jersey.
I love it. I love it. Patty, why weren't we invited? We could have been commentating remotely from that Airbnb.
I mean, why do we both, meet halfway in the middle here in Indianapolis? I don't know.
Seriously. There's always next time, Patty. Always next time.
That's right. Yeah, they rented an Airbnb. I think they need to get rooms for the announcers.
Yeah.
Come on, find a house that has 16 bedrooms, not just 12. Men's final today. We have special guests, special announcers, the one and only Guy Moore, and Brian Fegg, who spent a lot of time in New Jersey, born and raised in Jersey, spent a lot of time post-college out in Cincinnati. Big-time paddle player, is currently living in Chicago. Buddies with these Midwesterns guys. I think he won the Colorado Open with Eric West. So Brian Fegg and Guy Moore will be on the call for men's final action immediately following the women's play.
Yeah, man. That was for Guy.
That was totally for Guy. Talk about a guy with a low pulse.
Oh, my. A low pulse and a wealth of knowledge. That's a great, I love that down up overhead. That trajectory just changes things and makes them, if the sun is a factor, it makes them stare up into that a little bit longer over there for Matrka. So 40-15, Halbauer serving. That's another amazing dipper by Cruz.
Yeah, I feel like the energy's gone out of the balloon a little bit for Cruz and Matrka. Do you feel that way, Denise?
Yes. Yep, they need to pump themselves up. Whatever that looks like to them, they need to do it. Because there's definitely a shift in momentum.
Ooh.
That's a rare miss. She's going to want that one back.
And what should she do with that ball? We saw that error earlier out of Halbauer.
Middle. I mean, I've been saying that. It just...
Middle and what style of overhead?
I would go bring that paddle down, get a little bit lower contact. The down up, you don't want to hit it down up to the middle, I can tell you that.
Well, when you're right, and when you're moving to the right, it's natural to hit a slice type of overhead. It's unnatural to go over and force that down up flat overhead.
Yep.
But again, Ellie's grip is a little bit over Denise, which doesn't always lend itself to hitting that slice type of overhead.
Yep, she's got her forehand drive grip. Okay, Patty, we just saw the roller we've been looking for. Halbauer hit a big roller to Cruz. Cruz will pull out of position, and then they volley behind her. It's caused a lot of problems, and as a result, Halbauer Jackson took the point. So let's hope they log that in their pattern plays and implement that a little bit more.
Just so many times I see Halbauer move to her right, and it's not a deep lob, something like that, and I feel like she could load up from her legs, add some spin and pace, and it could be a more effective shot. Whether she takes it I think at Matrka in that situation.
That was very patient of Matrka. Okay, that's what you're talking about, waiting for that better ball. She passed on the first look, and then the second look was there. And she's moving into the blue and executed that drive brilliantly. So hats off to Matrka there.
Yep, and
very organized.
When you're hitting the overhead and you hit a ball that is in the strike zone of your opponent, and if they don't take it, then you have to stop and push yourself back. And, you can, I call that bobbleheading your opponents. If you can bobblehead them a little bit, if Matrka can bring that into her game, lights out and how good she can be. So we're at deuce, 2-1. Finals of the women's Midwesterns. Halbauer Jackson. The first lead in the match for them. Cruz Matrka won the first set 6-4. Lost the second set 6-3. Everything's settling down here for what I think is going to be a great third set.
Matrka's just doing a phenomenal job over there. She's making, there's so many nicks that she's getting back with ease. I like how Jackson and Halbauer just switched at the net there. So Halbauer's on the left with the blue leggings. Jackson's in the pink shirt on the right at the net. And of course, we've got Liz Cruz in the deuce side to our left, and Maria Matrka on the right in the white sweatshirt.
See, great job by Matrka not to pull the trigger and drive that ball. That was brilliant, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, Denise, where she has to be a little less predictable. When she gets her shot, it doesn't always mean it's the smartest play to take that shot. And just waiting it out, 2 more shots, she then created the opening and caught Jackson much further back off the net. Great shot. And you can see, you talked about it earlier, how Halbauer reaches up and hits that overhead versus letting that ball drop down lower. And, you know, the higher that contact and you go down up, it's a higher bouncing ball. And as the temperature gets colder, in a way, you're making it easier for your opponents to lob well. I think if you, huge benefit, someone's lobbing well is give the balls, give them lower bouncing balls.
Mm-hmm. All right, 3-1, Jackson Halbauer. Up on Cruz Matrka. Maria Matrka serving, Jill Jackson returning. We were here in the second set, Patty, with the flip score. With Halbauer Jackson being down 1-3, and then they won that next game to bring it 2-3. So this is a critical game for Cruz Matrka. Being down 2-3 versus 1-4 is a mental, it seems like a mountain to overcome.
Right, 3 games in a row, boom. You've got to reset your sails really fast here, and try to figure out what it is tactically you need to do, or if you just need to raise your level of, you know, your execution. Just kind of has gone a little bit by the wayside, and just zero in on the fundamentals again.
The only balls Halbauer's missing is when she's not able to step into the blue. And again, her feet were in the green on that drive. Ah, tricky ball. Great overhead right into the nick. Again, I love the early calls. It's low, but you can hear Liz Cruz just dictating these points. You, and I love it. That's a great ball by Jackson. It's the one she was looking for.
Good little overhead from Matrka. See how that ball hit the backstream and kind of spun away from Ellie right there, causing the error. Wow.
There we go. All
Two in a
right.
row.
Yep.
And Denise, one more shout out to our great sponsors of the APTA Tour. There's so many events. We get to live stream them. There's prize money. The APTA is doing so much to grow the game. We have a tournament this weekend that it's not just one tournament. There's really 4 tournaments in one. Couldn't do it without the ongoing support. Thanks to Volley. Thanks to Corient. And in this case, thanks also to local sponsored, headquartered right here in downtown Cincinnati. Roto-Rooter has been a dedicated sponsor of the Midwesterns for the past 10 years. Special thanks to APTA member and Roto-Rooter president, Robert Goldschmidt, and his team for their loyal support. All right, that was a must-have game for Cruz Matrka to kind of stop it. Halbauer and Jackson had won 3 games in a row there. Must-have game, and this is the battle we kind of wanted this match to come down to, Denise.
Yep. I mean, there was writings on the wall of an epic three-set match, and we're getting just that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people watching. We've got Ellie Halbauer teaches at Kenwood Country Club. I'm sure she's got a lot of fans cheering on from there. Of course, Liz Cruz, director at Saddle and Cycle in Chicago, Illinois. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Jill Jackson, director of rackets at Makatiwa Country Club, right here in Cincinnati. So a lot of teaching experience between all these players, and just great play. Ooh, I like that angle.
Denise, we mentioned earlier the tour's next stop will be the Boston Open. Always a highlight, tournament favor for the players, for the spectators. They do a phenomenal job, Drew Sawyer and the whole group up there in Boston. Then we'll go to the Ridgewood Classic, then back out to Chicago, your home neck of the woods for the Birchwood Open, then back to Short Hills for a Grand Prix, out to Pittsburgh, then to Indianapolis, culminating in the Nationals in Philadelphia, hosted by Philly Cricket Club.
So fun. So many great locations. So many great tournaments to come.
Kudos last weekend. Macy Elliott ran a phenomenal event. She teamed up with her buddy Jeff, a guy I met at Team Nationals last year, won a gold medal on Damian Johnston's team. But the Fairfield Open was a great new tour stop for the APTA, and Macy and Jeff hit it out of the park. They had a hospitality tent like no other, and just heard rave reviews from players, spectators, and that's what Philly's going to be like. So be like Jenna McClintock and Leslie Siska. Rent a house, go to Philly for a couple days, cheer on the players, and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Macy Elliott, I love her little video she put together, and I think she posted on Instagram of just all the fun and all the things that they had scheduled, and in addition to the amazing paddle. And that's what this game's so about. I mean, we enjoy the competition and watching this amazing play, but it's the relationships and connections that are built around this game that happen outside the wires. That, to me, is what I miss most about not playing tournaments. Great get by Cruz. Matrka just grinding it out in that corner. Keeping those feet moving, to your point, Patty. She's doing a great job of just keeping those feet under her, taking lots of little steps. It's a tough ball. I mentioned the other 3 players, Patty, who are teaching pros, but I mentioned this in the semifinal, but Marie Matrka, I love when she was growing up, they didn't have a girls' tennis team, so she played on the boys' team. She went to the University of Cincinnati for graduate school in cancer biology and got her PhD and she currently works in oncology business unit at the medical science as a medical science liaison. So just like really cool women just doing their thing. But I love her background, how there's no girls team. So she's like, well, I'll just play in the boys team.
That's right. So they're going to test Matrka here. You know,
Yep.
there's definitely you can see the tactic is they're going to put it on her hands. She is the far more explosive of the players between Cruz and Matrka, but she's also the one a little bit more likely to give you an error. And that's definitely the case right now. And Halbauer and Jackson up 4-2. Finals is the Midwesterns in Cincinnati, Ohio, out of beautiful Hyde Park Country Club.
Live by the sword, die by the sword, Patty. You know, it's
Right.
like making high percentage choices when you're going to bring that sword out.
Right. And right now, you know, I want that sword to go away from Matrka. I don't want any misses. I want her just to go lockdown and just, you know, have a willingness to play, you know, just longer points. When they're on the baseline.
Yes, but that's what's interesting because it's all perspective. I believe she probably perceives her play as playing long points because she's grinding out a gazillion lobs in that corner, but she needs to grind out a gazillion and one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Plus one.
Yeah, plus one.
One more. Plus one more. Plus one more. That has to be the mindset. Yeah, Jill kind of took an aggressive swing on that ball. The ball was a little bit behind her, a little too deep. And that was wise of Cruz to let that ball just fly by.
Yep. This seventh game is a big one here. Speaking of lockdown, Jackson and Halbauer need to like dial it in and just keep doing what they have been doing. Playing within themselves and making really smart choices. Not trying to press at the wrong times. That's three missed drives in this game. Speaking of pressing at the wrong time.
Right, and they're getting the errors a little bit, you know, from Matrka, so they don't need to press too much. That's the fine line out here.
Mm-hmm. Patty, that line can appear a little gray at times. Like, where is that line?
I know.
It's real easy for us to see it from this vantage point, but when you're in the moment, but that was way too quick of a game from Halbauer, Jackson's perspective. Cruz and Matrka needed those misses, and now there's a little more wind in their sail going into the back end of this third set with Halbauer Jackson up 4-3. It's been a battle.
Really good battle. Well played paddle match out here in Cincinnati. Fun to watch. One more shout out to Dave Najedlik up in the chair, doing a great job as always as an umpire. APTA so appreciates all the people who have a willingness to get up in that chair, and you get up in that chair, and it's a hard job up there, and especially on a cold, wintry day. Kudos to all the guys the guys and women who do their part and help pull these tournaments off. You got to have those phenomenal umpires. Even though Rusty Seams doesn't have much use for umpires, most of us do. Oh, what a shot.
Did we just see there, Patty?
Oh, boy.
Oh, my
I love the
gosh.
determination from Halbauer to come up with that shot. And that's what I said a couple of games ago. You kind of feel like Ellie there's these moments, and she's going to do what it's going to take to pull it out. I kind of felt that in her in the beginning of this third set. If only she could let that overhead drop a little bit, I would even feel it more.
It just shows you how much time, I mean, granted, Halbauer is a sick athlete and has like wheels like none other, but I mean, they both paused at the net, saw the ball, and then she decided kind of secondhand to go after it. And she not only got to it, but it almost went her down the line. I mean, that was super fun to watch.
How many unforced errors in 3 sets from Liz Cruz? I don't think we need 2 hands.
Oh, no way. I'm thinking
3?
I think 2. Yeah. I mean, she's just cool as a cucumber over there. Not getting angsty. She doesn't let the fact that she hasn't seen a ball in 20 hits bother her. When she gets that ball, she knows what she's doing with it.
Uh-oh, the curse.
I know.
That was her first error on a return to serve, I think.
I'll take that. I'm taking the I have an unforced error, Patty, in this match. I'm taking the responsibility for that one.
Okay, she's up to 3 or 4 now.
Okay.
All right, Matrka got the ball she wanted, went big, didn't work out. Halbauer Jackson up 5-3, looking for their second tournament victory of the season. They won the Medina event over Banks and Morgan as the second tour stop way back in October. This will certainly help their standing. They are currently, I think, ranked about 7th in the country. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a win here today certainly will help their national ranking points that they're accumulating. And as they head into nationals, you know, the higher the seed you can get, it means you can avoid those teams like Burson Elliott and Hannah Sabori, to name a few, Morgan Sikora, some of the, you know, current top 4 teams, or Page and Lopez in the country. You want to get a shot to get them 5 through 8 maybe in the quarters of nationals, and Jackson and Halbauer, Denise, look like they're well positioned to have really solid going into the nationals, you know, in that top 6 or 7.
This is that time, though, 5-3, Halbauer Jackson up. They just need to not try to do anything more than they have been doing. It's sometimes you can get, that's a great move.
But look to capitalize, and that's what Halbauer did.
In a high percentage way.
Yeah, and I just think that's the thing. You know, I always feel like in the moments of truth, and you're, you know, nervous watching, what's it going to take? It's usually the performance of one player who's got the nerve and the kind of the discipline to figure out the perfect time to insert themselves, you know, to force the point. You know, both teams sort of interesting matchups here, in that both do-scored players are, you know, the steady eddies for their team. The explosiveness comes out of the ad court for both of the teams. And right here, Halbauer's just looking like she's emerging and getting the better end of it with Matrka here in this match.
Match point, Halbauer Jackson. Wow. Way to follow that ball by Halbauer, keeping her feet moving. Her eyes never left the ball. All right. 1 match point avoided. Matrka to serve.
I think it's going to be a drive, Denise. Yep, she followed in with a little pressure. They volleyed away from her, no big deal. She just dropped back to the baseline. again, this is where, Matrka, wanted to challenge her friend Ellie Halbauer right there instead of just volleying a neutral ball kind of low to Cruz straight ahead. Keep that ball down on the court a little bit.
I love how Cruz just moves right to give Matrka plenty of room to put that ball wherever she wants.
Yep, and I like that spin, the variety in the overheads that we're seeing from Matrka here, how she comes around that ball and under. I love that overhead. Love that one. Really smart. Keep hammering the middle of the court.
Oh, gosh. Patty, we were just talking about pulse rate before.
Oh, yeah.
This is my workout right now, watching this point. Oh, my gosh. And that's match. What a great, great match between these four phenomenal players, Patty.
Yeah, Halbauer, big time. You could tell she was not going to be denied. Kudos to wonderful play from Jill Jackson out of that deuce court. And, Halbauer kind of took it on, recognized some opportunities, went for it. Execution beautiful in that third set. I think she was the difference.
Absolutely. Cruz and Matrka played a phenomenal match, but both, kind of setting into their roles. Cruz just being so steady and consistent, and Matrka creating a lot of chaos. But at the end of the day, Jill Jackson and Ellie Halbauer were successful and take home the crown from the Midwesterns here in Cincinnati, Ohio at the Hyde Park Country Club. So we're gonna go right into the men's final. That's going to immediately follow this between number 1 seed Frazier and West versus number 2 seed Bentheim and Humphreys. Patty, you have any closing remarks before we sign off?
No, that's a wrap from the women's finals at the Midwesterns. Thanks, Denise.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Patty.
Want to see how volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends and you'll get a free 30-day trial of volley. Experience firsthand how Volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
James thinks this is going to be a quick in and out for a water valve. But what James is about to realize is that there are tons of different water valves. Hundreds, in fact. Do you want half-inch or a quarter? Globe or gate? Chrome? Brass? PVC? What even is PVC? Sounds fancy. Oh no, we don't need help. He's a grown-up. Wait, James, where are you going? Oh, not again. You could be like James, or you could just call Roto-Rooter.